Hey everyone, as of late I've had some requests regarding modding different toons. This is a very complex thing to do because it depends not only on the toon itself, but the team that you run it in. Do you run the toon on an offensive team or a defensive team? You might run it on both your offense and defensive team. These are just a couple questions that I ask when I'm thinking about how to mod my human shield. Other things to consider include if there's a war coming out, what the war towers are, and what the current meta is. So here you see my Koa. He was the first human shield that I ever got, and so far he has been very successful on both offense and defense for me. I didn't level up either his rush or his active skill because I want him to shield more often than rush or attack. So when we go over to Koa's mods, you can see that I've done defensive set mods with an HP mod in the center. This is to help create some balance between HP and defense. I am fairly satisfied that his HP is over 2000 HP because if someone is running double Zax, they do 1000 maim damage each. To be honest, on the next free mod removal day, I will probably try to increase Koa's HP past 2500 because Mia does 2500 maim damage to one enemy. So obviously Koa has defense, HP defense versus alert because Koa is weak to alert trait toons. He has a reflect damage mod that is quite high, mainly because I have him on my defense team and rarely run him on my attack team anymore. So the reason why I have this reflect damage mod is so that if anyone uses high attacking basic attacks, this has the potential to kill the attacking toon. Koa also has a taunt resist mod. Now the reason why I went with taunt resist is because taunt is the current meta, especially for pay-to-play players. Many attackers now use Dr. Stevens on attack, who has the ability to taunt on the first turn when using a command toon. Now I know people might say, why don't you have stun resist? There are lots of ways to stun a shield using basic attacks if you run a green team against it. But with the limited spaces available in order to protect your toons against different status issues, it is imperative that you understand the rest of a composition of your team. And really quickly, I round out my Koa with an AP down weapon when being attacked. As you see, I didn't get a crit success on the HP of my weapon, but I do have 35% defense and the AP down, which is the most important part of his weapon. The next human shield that we're going to be looking at is my 6-star blue Magna. So with Magna, I run her on my offensive teams a lot more often than Koa, and as you see, I haven't leveled her rush or her active skill, same as Koa, because I want her to be a human shield rather than an attacker. So because I run Magna most of the time, I do have a trait defensive mod, so defense versus fast. To be honest, I could probably change this mod to a different defense versus another trait. And I say this because if I come across a yellow team, I could always run Koa instead, since he would have the trait advantage against yellow toons. With the current meta, it would almost be advisable for me to have defense versus alert toons instead. So as you see, Magna has the same general build as Koa. The difference is I have a stun resist mod on Magna instead of a taunt resist. Yet again, there is purpose to this that I will explain a little later on. As you might also see, I have a small reflect damage mod on Magna, and this is primarily because I run her on an offensive team. On my offensive team, I don't expect the defense to attack very hard most of the time. So I don't want to reflect a large amount of damage back onto toons just in case it gives them too much AP and then they're able to rush. The small reflect damage mod is primarily used to reflect damage back onto toons that have a guardian shield. This saves me an attack needed to break the shield. A reflect damage mod, like on Magna and on Koa, is less useful on a yellow shield that has absolute defense. The reasoning behind this is because when you have absolute defense, you can completely negate all damage. But if there's no damage being received, this mod will never go off. A red human shield like Ajax, who I also have but have not yet finished his weapon, would have a similar defensive build, just like Magna and Koa. So again, really quickly here, Magna has an impair weapon with plus 30 defense. At the moment, I don't have a better weapon for her. Ideally, I would want plus 30 HP or plus 35 HP and at least plus 30 defense with impair when being attacked. I like using this Magna on offense because I'm able to impair the defensive toons. Ideally, when Ajax is ready, I want to use him instead because he has the potential to stun the defenders. And his rush is quite useful too, by being able to taunt the enemy and regain HP. So now to explain a little more why Koa has a taunt resist mod and no stun resist mod. In this team that I run him in, Eric is able to recover stun as well as 100% heal reduction with his active skill. Glenn is able to recover bleed, so if someone tries to bleed out my human shield or another toon, he has the capability to prevent that. Also, Joshua and his active skill don't go off till turn 3, but he can recover taunt as well as impair. With Roxy and her active skill, it forces the attacker to use defense down toons rather than attack up, because her active skill prevents toons from receiving an attack up bonus when under her influence. So now we are moving on to one of my teams that has Magna on it. So by running Magna on this team, I have to worry about stun resist only because Dale has an active skill that can focus my whole team. Focus enables toons to ignore human shields and fight around them, as well as fight through taunt and confuse, meaning Magna, if she's taunted but focused, she won't be forced to attack the enemy. So this is just a quick example to show how impair can work on an offensive team. As you see, I was able to impair Holly, Eric, and Glenn. This allows me to be a little more aggressive when attacking, because I know that there are no toons on that defensive team that are able to recover from impair. So those toons are impaired for exactly 3 turns, which limits them to active skills and basic attacks. Thank you for watching and listening to my video. I hope this helped you with understanding how I go about modding at least my human shields.